All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For those that did not watch the first video where I introduced myself, my name is Mr. Hale. I will be your 7th grade math teacher this year. If you will notice, I'm not sure whether or not you've gotten Eureka math books or not. I prefer teaching from Eureka Math, so for those that were in 6th grade last year here in Shelby County, you know what Eureka Math looks like. I'm going to be starting off with Lesson 1 in Module 1. And as you can see, the very first lesson is an experience in relationships as measuring rate. Now, if you notice, and this is kind of the weird thing, the very first classwork assignment is how fast is our class? Record the results for the paper passing exercise in the table below. Well, kind of hard to record ourselves passing out papers when we're not actually face to face. So that kind of does create a very interesting problem. So what we're going to do instead is I'm just going to fill in with some random bits of information and we'll see how we look. Now, before we get started, I want you to understand that there are certain bits of information that I want you to make sure that either A, you highlight in your Eureka Math book, or if you do not have your Eureka Math book, I want you to be able to write these down in a spiral notebook. Okay? These definitions are important. These definitions give you the foundation understanding that you'll need in order to begin working with unit rates and rates. Okay? Now, let's get started. Okay? Very first thing I want you to pay attention to is right here. A ratio is an ordered pair of numbers which are not both zero. A ratio is denoted A to B to indicate the order of the numbers. The number A is first and the number B is second. Okay. Now, you should know these kind of things. I'm not saying you should know them perfectly, but you've heard these kind of things before. Like you might hear your mom saying, "Oh, you're comparing apples to oranges." Okay, that's a ratio, the number of apples to number of oranges. Okay, you might be talking about the price of video games where she's talking about the price of groceries. Okay, apples to oranges, they really don't, they really are not the same thing, but we can make a comparison between the two. But now the important part is, and I will always make sure you understand this part right here. You can never have one of the ratios being zero. Okay? Where they're not both zero. You can't have 0 to 0. Okay? It's best to not have 0. All right? Now, okay? Next part. Two ratios, A to B, C to D, are equivalent ratios. Okay? Equivalent ratios are when two ratios are equivalent. That means they both have values that are equal to each other. Okay? You will equivalent ratios are kind of like equivalent fractions. Okay? You know how 4/10 can be reduced by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 2, and you get 2/5. Well, 2/5 is equal to 4/10. Those are equivalent. Okay? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about equivalent ratios. Okay? They have the same value. Okay? If you were to say divide them, 2 divided by 5 is going to equal 4 divided by 10. That's an equivalent ratio. Okay? Let's see. Continuing on, a ratio relationship between two types of quantities, such as 5 miles per 2 hours, can be described as rates. So a ratio relationship between two types of quantities, such as 5 miles per hour or per 2 hours, can be described as a rate. Okay? Now that's important to know. A rate is a comparison of two types of quantities. Okay? That's what a rate is. It is a ratio relationship between two types of quantities. 5 miles per 2 hours, or you can say this person goes 2.5 miles every single hour. Okay? That would be an equivalent ratio. 2.5 miles per hour is the same as 5 miles per 2 hours. Equivalent ratios. Okay? Now, the numerical part of the rate is called the unit rate, and is simply the value of the ratio. In this case, 2.5. So if you look back here at the front, okay, the value of the ratio, okay? This is what they're talking about right here. You see how this is 2.5 miles per 1 hour, okay? The 2.5 is your unit rate, okay? The unit rate is the value per 1, okay? So the numerical part of the ratio is called the unit rate, is simply the value of the ratio, in this case 2.5. This means that in 1 hour the car travels 2.5 miles. The unit for the rate is miles per hour, reads miles per hour. Okay. Now, I want you to remember that very important last part right there. Unit. Okay. Units are very important when working with ratios and rates and unit rates. Okay. You've got to have a unit. All right. It could be price per pound. Okay. Write that over here. It could be price per pound. Okay. Or miles per hour. Or kilometers per second. These are what you call, okay, units. This defines the value. This tells us what we're working with. If we don't have these, then we don't know. Okay, you could just sit there and say 3.8 to 1. But 3.8 what to 1 what? You've got to have a rate. You got to have units. I'm sorry. You've got to have units in order for us to be able to understand what we are working with. Without units, then we are completely and totally lost. Okay? All right, so first exercise. All right, so we have 3 trials. Okay? We're going to say that we are passing out 30 papers in every trial. Okay? Because that's how many students we're going to say are in the class. There are 30 students in the class, so we're going to have 30 papers being passed out in each trial. Okay? Now, let's say it takes us, I don't know, 45 seconds to pass out papers in the first trial. Okay? So now I want to know the ratio of the number of papers passed to time. Now, see, this is what I like. This tells you the order, okay, that you're going to write your ratio. We're looking at the number of papers, which was 30 papers, okay, passed out to time. Now, the 2 tells us that we're going to put those little dots right there, okay, to time, so 45 seconds, okay. So there's our ratio, 30 to 45. Now, if you remember, that's the reason why we write it like that, is because in our nice little definition up here, it says a ratio is denoted as A colon B. So we got to make sure we write that little colon. Okay, so now we need to figure out what the rate was. Well, what's rate? Okay, well, we go back. So let's see. There's equivalent ratio. Okay, so, here we go. A ratio relationship between 2 types of quantities, such as 5 miles per 2 hours, can be described as a rate. Well, our rate was 30 papers to 45 seconds. Okay, 30 papers to 45 seconds. Now we've got our unit rate. We need to know what our unit rate is. Oh, we got a problem. We got a very big problem we got to work on now. Because unit rate, if you remember, says it's the numerical part of the rate is called the unit rate. And it's simply the value of the ratio, in this case 2.5. Well, we sat there and said that our rate was 30 papers to 45 seconds. We got a problem. In order for us to find the unit rate, we need to have a value of 1 for our time. So we got 30 papers to 45 seconds. How do we convert this to 1? Oh, can I divide? Can I do 45 divided by 45? Ooh, okay, so that's a great idea. So 45 divided by 45 gives me 1 second. Okay, well, if I divided this side by 45, what do I have to do on this side? You're right, I got to divide this by 45 as well. Now, that looks like a fraction to me, 30 45ths. So if I take this over here, can I simplify 30 45ths? Is there a number I could divide 30 and 45 by? Let's see, can I divide by 2? 30 divided by 2 is 15, but 45, it ends in a 5. I can't divide by 2. What about 3? Let's see. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 45 divided by 3 is 15. That works. So we could divide by 3. So we get 10/15. But I haven't gotten a 1 yet. So I got to keep on going. Okay. Can I do 10 and 15? What can I divide 10 and 15 by? I can do 5. I can do 5. So divide that by 5 and divide that by 5, and I get 2/3. So I can pass out 2/3 of a paper every 1 second. So 2/3 of a paper every 1 second. So what's my unit rate? Correct. It's 2/3. Okay. Now, let's say we pass out a second time. I think we do better this time, and we get them out in 30 seconds. Okay. Now, I'm going to sit here, and I'm just going to be like, going da 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 da, and I want you to fill in the rest of the information, and we'll see how we do. So da 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 da. Oh, wait a minute. That would get really annoying if I had to hear that the whole time. So what I actually want you to do is I want you to pause. Okay, I want you to pause the video, and I want to see if you fill out the rest of the information like I do. Okay, so take this time, pause the video. Hey, welcome back. So let's see how we did. So I figured out the ratio of the number of papers passed to time would be 30 to 30. Well, what's my rate? Well, that's easy. I got 30 papers to 30 seconds. Oh, well, now I need to come up with an equivalent ratio. So what numbers can I divide 30 and 30 by? That's right. I can divide them both by 30. So 30 divided by 30 is 1 paper. Ooh, make that a P. 2, 1 second. So my unit rate is 1. If you got that, congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause. All right, so last but not least, I think we could have done better than 30 seconds. So we're going to try 20 seconds. Okay, so again, pause your video, and we're going to see how we do. Okay, so go ahead and pause that video. And we're back for a brand new episode of What's That Unit Rate? All right, so our ratio of number of papers passed to time, that's going to be 30 to 20. Now I need to write a rate. Well, okay, that's easy. 30 papers to 20 seconds. Ooh, now I got to divide, so I need to find an equivalent ratio. Well, I know that this has got to end up being 1 second. So I'm going to divide 20 by 20 to get 1. So 30 divided by 20. Ooh, that's not going to be a whole number, is it? So we're going to come over here to the side, and we're going to do 30 divided by 20. Well, what number can I divide 30 and 20 by in order to reduce these? Well, the first thing I notice is I've got these 2 zeros at the end. So that most likely means I can divide by 10. So 30 divided by 10 gives me 3. 20 divided by 10 gives me 2. Well, there I go. 3/2. It's been simplified. I can't simplify that anymore. I really don't want a mixed number, so I really don't want 1 1/2. So I'm going to stick with just 3/2. So I can pass out 3/2 of a paper every 1 second. So what's my unit rate? 3/2. And there you go. We just got through the first classwork assignment. Okay, so congratulations. You have moved on through your first part of the classwork assignment. We have done example 1. So now we're going to move on to, there's nothing on the back. I can't do anything with the back. So we're going to move on to example number 2. Uh-oh. We got ourselves an interesting situation again. We have our class by gender. Well, we got a very interesting problem. I don't know how many boys and girls we got. So because I don't know how many boys and girls we got, we're going to have to guess. So I'm going to say class 1 has more boys than girls. So we're going to say there are 20 boys to 10 girls. In class 2, we're going to say they're even, 15 boys to 15 girls. So what's the ratio of boys to girls in class 1? Correct. 20 to 10. Can I simplify that? Yes, I can. I can say that there are 2 boys to every 1 girl. How do I know that? Because 20 and 10 are both divisible by 10. So I got a simple equivalent ratio. What did I just do? Oh my goodness gracious! I said create a pair of equivalent ratios by making a comparison of quantities discussed in this example. I just gave you an equivalent ratio by accident. Or did I? When you get down to that part, I want you to create an additional equivalent ratio based on the information that I've given you. So you're not going to use 2 to 1, you're going to use something else. Okay. Now, an equivalent ratio doesn't have to be less than the original value. It could be greater. Okay. Just remember that whatever you choose has got to be able to reduce to 2 to 1. Okay. All right. So class number 2, we had 15 boys to 15 girls. So again, the ratio is 15 to 15. That reduces to simply a 1 to 1 ratio. Oh, wait a minute. I got another line here. The whole of the 7th grade. Well, I've only got 2 classes, so that's what I'm going to work with. So when it's talking about the whole of 7th grade, we got 2 classes. So would I add these, divide these, subtract these, multiply these, or would I just create a whole brand new set of numbers just for the heck of it? You're right. I would add these, okay? So if there's 20 boys in class 1, 15 boys in class 2, that means in the entire 7th grade there are 35 boys, okay? Well, if there are 10 girls in class 1 and 15 girls in class 2, that's only 25 girls. Sorry, guys. You're kind of outnumbered here. Looks like the girls have the pickings. Well. All right, so the ratio of boys to girls is going to be 35 to 25. Now, I know I can simplify that because both of these are divisible by what number? Correct. I can divide by 5. So 35 divided by 5 is 7. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So there are 7 boys for every 5 girls. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm not going to give you the second part. On this part here, where it says create a pair of equivalent ratios by making comparison quantities, what I want you to do is I want you to come up with a pair for class 1, a pair for class 2, and then I want you to come up with just a single for the 7th grade. So in other words, you're not just going to do a pair of equivalent ratios, okay? I need 2 for class 1, I need 2 for class 2, and I need 1 for the whole 7th grade. So I need 5 ratios, okay? And we're going to discuss these, okay, in the very first day that I'm going to see you through Microsoft Teams, okay? So for right now, this is part of your homework, okay? You're watching this at home right now. You're going to do some of these, and you're going to come back and you're asking me questions in class, okay? Then we're going to spend some time going through these questions in class, okay? All right. Now, exercise 1, which is a better buy? Value Mart is advertising a back-to-school sale on pencils. A pack of 30 sells for $7.97, whereas a pack of 12 of the same brand costs for $4.77. Which is the better buy? How do you know? Okay, now this is where talking to your parents is going to come in very handy, okay? Because they go shopping, and this is very important for them, okay? This is where we want to know, okay, how much it costs for one pencil. We want to know which is the better cost. Does it cost 35 cents for one pencil at Value Mart? Okay. or does it cost 16 cents per pencil for the pack of 12? That's what we want to know. We want to know what package has the better bargain. All right. Now, I'm going to set you up, okay? But I want you to come up with your answer, and then we're going to discuss it in class tomorrow, okay? So I want you to just take the time. I want you to, like I said, I'm going to set you up, but I want you to do the rest of the work on your own. All right. So we're looking at the dollar amount per pencils. So the first thing I need to do is I need to set up my ratio. Okay. Well, I know that pack, and we're going to call this pack 1, and we're going to call this one pack 2. Okay. Pack 1, and remember, I'm looking at dollar per pencil. All right. So pack 1's cost is at $7.97 for 30 pencils. So my ratio is going to be cost per pencils. So that's my ratio for one of them. My second ratio is the 12 pack of the same brand costs $4.77. So again, my cost is $4.77 per 12. Okay. So now I have my ratios. Okay. Now I need to set up my rates, which kindly, oddly enough, I think we've already set up our rates accidentally. So what I want you to do, okay, is we've got our ratios. All right. I want you to find the unit rate. All right. I want to know how much it costs for one pencil. Okay. How much does it cost for one pencil? Okay. You've got tonight to work on this. Okay. Best part is that now it's a video. You can pause. You can go back and watch something else that I've done previously and see if it'll help you solve this problem now. If you still are struggling, ask your parents to sit down and watch the video with you. No reason why you guys cannot work together. I want you to understand this, and in order for you to understand it, you're going to have to practice it. All right. Now, here is the lesson summary and the problem sets, okay? All right. So we've got 7 problems here. Now, I don't expect you to do all these problems, not tonight. What I want you to do is I want you to do 2. Okay, you've already got some work to do in the class assignment. I want you to do 2 of these, and then tomorrow we're going to work on the other 5 in class. Okay, so we're going to discuss these. We're going to work through the problems together. You're going to help me get the right answers. Okay, so all I want you to do is I want you to practice the unit ratios. Okay, I want you to do number 1 for me. Okay, finding the rate and the unit rate. Pretty easy to do. All right. And let's see. And then I want you to do number 2. Okay. We're going to do numbers 3 through 7 together in class tomorrow. That's what our class is going to be about. We're going to spend the class period going over those 5 problems. When those 5 problems are done, then we're done with class. Okay. You're going to do a majority of the work at home. You're going to be watching these videos. Okay. These videos are what's going to help you get through this. All right. I'm hoping that we're only going to have to do some of this for a quarter, but if not, and depending on how you guys respond to these, we might be doing the videos at home for the rest of the year. But when we come back to class, this is what we're going to be doing every day. So just be patient with me, and I'll be patient with you. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the first video, and I will see you guys in the second video. Okay.